welcome, welcome. We're going to go through some more strategies to support our mental, physical, and emotional well-being. And today I want to talk about some just daily habits that are really going to support our optimal mental health, our metabolism, a little bit of hormone balance as well, keeping that stress management under control as well, so that we can function at our very best, get rest when we need rest to really, really replenish and then function better during the day. So I'm going to go through some different tools and strategies, a little bit on cellular health of how our cells can be supported so that we can absorb that nutrition and keep that blood sugar balance, keep the hormone balance, and all the good, happy neurotransmitters. So if you have questions, reach out. If you need the PDF guide or any more customized action plan support, I'm here for you. All right. So, some healthy habits to just kind of keep in mind. We've been working on some of these. I think we've all made some great progress with a lot of these. Don't forget your daily release and reset that we've talked about. A lot of people have found it to be really awesome to use right before every meal. Some find it even better to do it before every meal and every snack, to take 30 to 60 seconds, close your eyes, take those deep breaths, release the tension from whatever that day or week is throwing at you, and intentionally reset the mental, emotional place with gratitude, prayer, affirmations, whatever you can use. Or we've talked about the spiritual snack, reading that little, even just one little scripture before you go ahead and have that snack or meal, can make a world of difference. The science, the clinical data is all there showing this is going to improve your serotonin and dopamine, help with your metabolism, lower the stress level, lower the inflammation going on, help your nervous system to shift a little bit out of that kind of go, 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 fight or flight, and improve your body's ability to actually get nutrients from what you are eating as well. Just a little reminder there with that, because I know sometimes it gets busy. It's not always easy to remember, of course. Another thing we've talked about is the water and some sort of minerals or supplement powder or something like that in your water before meals, because that's going to help fuel your metabolism, help keep those hormones balanced, help our body cut through the insulin resistance cycle, which causes a lot of inflammation and fat storage and craving more junk, right? We want to break that cycle. So even if you just all you have is some water and a little bit of sea salt, that's awesome. If you like to do the rise with the vitamins and adaptogens, that's perfect. Put a little bit of that in the water before meals, or maybe a greens powder or something along those lines. Any of those things will be great to use before meals. And getting that, of course, hydration is going to be important as well. It makes it easier to control your portions as well. And you're usually going to make, some better food choices when we can do that first. To bump it up an extra level would be to do that water with minerals or whatever you're using, and move for 5 to 10 minutes, whether that's stretching or getting outside, taking a walk, some sort of movement, stretching for about 5 to 10 minutes with that. So that's really going to actually fuel your metabolism, get your endorphins going. That's even like next level of a reset to help your body be able to manage whatever you're going to be doing with your meal there. Of course, we're focusing on more of the good things, our proteins, our antioxidants, omega-3 rich foods like those avocados, olive oils, nuts and seeds, all those kinds of things, maybe a little bit of fresh fish or, wild caught fish as well. Mineral rich foods. So as you begin to make that shift, and every time you're making a food choice, you're trying to add in more of the good things, it'll get easier to do less and less of the snacky, junk food things that are randomly available, depending on if you're at work or home or wherever you are, but it will get easier. And then, of course, making sure in the evenings we're really getting that good rest and doing everything we can to promote the best rest possible. We've gone through details on that. So if you need the replay for that, more in-depth breakdown of how and why, then make sure you reach out. Okay, so here's a few little stress management strategies. We went through some last time as well, but I just wanted to touch on these. Focusing on those foods, fruits and vegetables that are more anti-inflammatory. So the rich, dark colored leafy greens, berries, high antioxidant foods, those are going to be the ones that are going to help your body to manage stress better. And if you really take note of those times where maybe you've gone out to eat or gone to a birthday party, whatever it was, and had a little bit of things that you don't normally eat that much of, you'll notice you're probably going to be a little bit more irritable, not tolerate stress as well. You'll notice some changes, and it's interesting when you start to kind of take note of that, like, oh wow, we don't always associate what we eat with how our mood is, but it does have an impact. Like I said, the release and reset, this is meditation, but I'd say prayer, movement, and exercise. So whatever that looks like for you. For some people who are at a desk all day, that's going to look like every hour or two, just getting up and stretching and moving a little bit, doing that release, reset, breathe, shifting that mental emotional state and moving and trying to get some of that tension out. I do have a quick video that's like a 5-minute little stretch routine, and it can be shortened if needed, but some tools in there so that you can have some quick things to do that don't take very long at all. Because we have to, really, our bodies are designed to be moving a lot of the day. So whatever we can do, even if it's 30 seconds, is better than not doing anything at all. Of course, we've talked about finding people you can talk to, connect with, have fun with, whether that's on the weekends or whenever it is, so that you get that sort of outlet and the emotional support, the connection, the encouragement that you need. And that's one of the reasons that we love doing these sessions with a group, so that we can encourage each other. Because the reality is, we can find all kinds of information on the internet or read books, and it's all wonderful. But as humans, we need human connection. We need encouragement. We need a little support here and there, or a little accountability here and there, or just someone to lift us up when we're having, a little bit of a rough week or day or month or whatever it is. And then the rest, which we've talked about before. Okay. And then a lot of these we've touched on before, but of course, don't forget prioritizing that protein. One kind of easy way to think of it is every snack and meal, try to have a little bit of protein with it, whether that's just some pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds or something, or a little bit of nut butter with, the crackers or the fruit that you're eating or something like that. Or whether you're using like a protein powder, protein bar, or, your chicken or something with your lunch or dinner, or eggs. Eggs are nice because you can hard boil them and have them on hand to grab and kind of go. And whether you choose to eat all of the yolk or not, that's up to you, because the cooked yolk is kind of like not totally bad for you, but you don't want to overdo it. But the white, part you can eat whenever you want with whatever else you want, whether it's crackers or fruit or anything like that. Managing the stress, we know about that. We've talked about some strategies, and if you need more ideas, then reach out. And the adrenal support, which is why I love to talk about the adaptogens and things like the Rise drink, because that's going to help with the adrenal support, endocrine support, all of that. The right herbs and supplements, we've talked a lot about that before. If you're not sure which ones are going to be best for you, to support your specific needs, make sure you reach out so we can kind of go through that a little bit more. Or at the end here, we can answer more questions specifically. Balancing hormones. And we actually, I think that was last week, I touched on different foods that support different hormones. So we did go through that last time. Movement, strength training, especially women over about 30, we do need some type of resistance involved in our movement, exercise, so on and so forth. So that can be your own body weight, something like planks or lunging. And that's why I like the kind of like Pilates yoga type movements, because a lot of times your own body, you're resisting your own body weight with the kind of lunging, stretching movements. But you can also use exercise bands, weights if you like, do a variety. I say it's helpful to kind of mix up different things. Just always remember any strength training or resistance that you're doing, if you're going to be doing something that's like, here are these muscles here, that's great, but you have to make sure you do the muscles on the other side of that joint. So if it's a shoulder, you're going to do this and this, right? If it's, let's say the wrist, if you did these, you need to do these ones on the other side. Same thing with your knees, hips, any of your joints. Why? Because if we have the ones on one side of the joint so much stronger than the other side, it creates an imbalance in that joint. And eventually you're going to be prone to some sort of joint problem or even a ligament tendon tear or strain, because it's that stronger muscle is going to pull it in one direction when you're even just in a relaxed state. So always remember that when you're doing any kind of strength training, exercise, workout, whatever you do. So I want to make sure we don't have issues with those joints and ligaments and all the things. And of course, I'm always a huge proponent, no matter what you do, whether you do a 5-minute thing or a 10-minute thing or whatever it is, stretch after you work those muscles. So again, you're supporting balance. It improves circulation. Also improves your muscle repair time and everything, gets all that oxygen flowing through, and promotes healthy ligament, tendon function so that your joints can be at their best. Sleep, we've talked a lot about that. If you need more ideas, just reach out. Making sure we are allowing our body to get rid of the junk when it's needed. So whether that's some sort of something we ate, or whether that's environmental. We know we were outside a lot where there's maybe a lot of pollution, or we know we were somewhere where there was a lot of cleaning chemicals, synthetic things in the air, or whatever it was. Your body's going to need to kind of process those things out. So support, doing once or twice a week, maybe a detox bath or a foot soak with, hot water and some Epsom salts, or there's different things like you throw some lemon in there if you have some herbs on hand, or even like apple cider vinegar can be helpful, those kinds of things. I have a whole list of options if you need them and then movement, right? Stretching movement of any kind, like I said, anywhere, even if it's 1 minute, is well worth your while, because not only are you improving the endorphins, oxygen flow, all of that, you're also going to be supporting your body's ability to get rid of things that it doesn't need, things that are causing issues and blocking up cells and neurotransmitters and all kinds of stuff. Watching what your hormone rhythms are, even people who are postmenopausal, premenopausal, perimenopausal, or have had a hysterectomy, there still are some hormone fluctuations, if you will, like a little bit of a cyclical pattern, but it's different. It's not as much, or it looks a little bit different than when you have still have a, somewhat normal cycle. But either way, watching what those patterns are, you can start to realize when you might need a little bit more rest, when you have more energy, what time in the month you might have a little bit more energy, and what foods can support those different times where you might have a little bit more estrogen or a little bit less estrogen, those kinds of things. It's important to know because it does play a big factor in so many things, like even metabolism, our body's ability to maintain the balanced blood sugar, energy, mental clarity, all of those things. So if you need the chart, I have a chart that shows which foods are going to support the different times, then make sure you reach out. Or if you need to have more knowledge on what that means and what hormones are fluctuating when, then make sure to connect so I can get that to you. Circadian rhythms, we've talked about that. Again, another rhythm to make sure we're supporting the morning. We're going to be rising. We're going to be getting our energy going, getting our adrenal system and our thyroid and everything going earlier in the day, with hopefully things like our movement, our good vitamins, minerals, nutrients, proteins and things. And then later in the day, after work, later afternoon, dinner time, we're starting to ramp down to where we're doing all the things that are helping support that rhythm to regulate the nervous system down decrease cortisol and improve that rest so we can get really good rest, replenish for the next day, and that will replenish the hormones. So we have gone through some of that before. I want to make sure I just touch on that. And then today I want to talk a little bit more about cellular health. Let's see if I can get this to like me. Okay, so we've talked about some strategies that we can do for general, well-being like we just did. But I want us to understand a little bit more about when we can support our little mitochondria in our cells. Every cell has these little mitochondria. So what are they? What do they do? Why does it matter, right? Our cells all have these little mitochondria that look something like this. They have the DNA of that cell, and they will support all kinds of different metabolic processes, whether that's processing nutrients. The Krebs cycle is how we create energy, and even cellular repair. If somehow the cell has an issue, some kind of inflammation, stress, some sort of damage from something synthetic in the environment, whatever it is, the mitochondria is going to be there working hard to make sure those things are functioning the way they should be. And we have the cellular repair we need. We have the energy we need. But the thing that we need to kind of remember is that every single day, our mitochondria are getting bombarded by things that are making that job kind of hard. Things like not getting enough sleep or not quality sleep, being stressed. Okay. And I know it's like, we can't get rid of all stress, so I'm not expecting that, but I will. That's why a lot of times I incorporate the stress relief tools. But things like the environmental toxins, like I mentioned, we walk outside, there's some pollution, or the, plastic water bottles that are probably putting some plastic into our water. I saw something that in, I think it was about a month's time, the typical person that drinks out of a plastic water bottle every day is consuming about a credit card's worth of plastic. That's just, of course, it's always worse if the plastic gets warm, but that's a whole other discussion. Things like going outside, there's all these 5G towers that it is a type of radiation that's impacting our cells. And though we can't necessarily see it or feel it per se, it does have an impact. It affects our mitochondria, it affects our brain, it affects a lot of things and causes a certain level of inflammation. And when you combine that with other things that we might be eating or whatever it is, cleaning products and stuff, it over time, it can create difficulties with these mitochondria in our cells. So that is why some people will say, well, I've been doing so many things for my health. I exercise every day. I eat clean, or I'm juicing. I'm doing, you name it, like keto or whatever it is. I'm doing all these things and I'm not really seeing a lot of improvement, very minimal improvement. Maybe the hormones are still not balanced. Maybe we're still struggling with the weight management and different things like that. A big part of that is because of these mitochondria. So I wanted to touch on this today because I want us to understand what they do and why we need to support them, and then a little bit of some things that we can do to help support them. And this one's a little bit blurry, but this just talks about some of the different functions that mitochondria do. So supporting our estrogen balance, our energy, like I said, neurotransmitter balance, our cellular repair there, metabolism of some toxins, so helping get some toxins out as well, cholesterol metabolism, fat and carbohydrate metabolism. This one I can't read, but I will pull up a different one later. Or if you guys need a copy, I'll send you one that's not quite so blurry. DNA repair. That's huge because what's causing damage with their DNA? Lots of environmental things, right? Or even, the tap water, right? Who has been like stuck somewhere where you ran out of water in your water bottle and they're like, oh, there's a water fountain, like a tap water fountain. And you're like, oh, but sometimes, it's better than nothing, right? Thankfully, we have some ways that we can support our genetic, keeping our genetic code, healthy expression of our DNA, basically. Okay, All right, so what can we do? There are certain nutrients that specifically support the mitochondria more than other things, as well as we've talked about the stress management, right? Because stress is one of the biggest things that affects the mitochondria. Also, some people have found a lot of benefits with fasting periodically. Everyone's going to be a little bit different on what that looks like and what the term fasting really means, because for some people it means just water only. For others, they still need some minerals and vitamins and maybe a little bit of like um, some vegetables or something along those lines for some cellular energy. Otherwise, there just isn't enough energy. But fasting, all the other heavier things that are more difficult to metabolize. One of the most important things, and I think I touched on this even last time as well, that helps with so many things that we really underestimate is sunlight, and not just like anytime. The before 10 a.m. infrared red light of the sun. We probably have seen out there the red light therapies that and those are helpful, especially when you can't get a lot of sun and that kind of thing, or when it's really cold or really hot and you're not able to be outside much. But the most powerful is the direct warm red light of the sun early in the morning, or sunrise to 10 a.m. So if you can get out, even if you can only get 5 minutes of that sunlight, do it. If you can get 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you can do. If you can do that and sit on your grass, sit on your dirt, stand on your dirt or rocks, natural grass, not the artificial, anything like that, even better, because you're going to get the benefits of the magnetic signals from the earth as well as the sunlight. The infrared red light of the sun actually promotes cellular regeneration, healthy blood cells, hormone balance, reducing inflammation, cellular repair, serotonin, brain health, mental clarity, all of that, reducing stress and inflammation, of course. So that's one tool that I say do not underestimate that. Prioritize that as often as you can. If you need to get a little red light therapy, that's an alternative option, not as strong, but hey, it's something that you can use. I'm getting one because I want to be able to use it with a lot of my clients, but also for myself as well. So that in like the afternoon or evening time, I can use that for different things. I have clients who will use the red light therapy like on their liver to help their liver, right? Or lots of different things like that. So, as much as you can prioritize that, absolutely do. Don't beat yourself up if you miss a day or something. It's not the end of the world, but just know that that's a big thing that's going to help. Exercising and movement. We talked about that. So we know. Working on that metabolic state. So that's where the nutritional piece comes in with certain nutrients. Oxidation versus antioxidant. So that means if we have, we go out to eat, right? We're going to balance that out the next day or even that evening with lots of high antioxidant things like our herbal teas, lemon ginger tea, those kinds of things. More rest, more water, more minerals in our water, maybe a detox bath, those kinds of things that are going to support the opposite of oxidative stress and inflammation from whatever it was that happened. And same thing for stress. If you had a really crazy stressful day, like there was a day last week where I ended up having to stay up till like 1:30 to finish some reports for one of the contracts that I see with some clients. And I knew the next day I needed to do more of those antioxidant things, because I knew that was a major hit for not only my rest, but my cellular health, my mitochondria, all the things, right? Even hormones and all of that. So I knew the next day if I could build in any kind of extra of those things, I did as much as possible and prioritized more rest as soon as I possibly could, whether it was that day or the next day, so we can balance that out. Okay. The mitochondria optimized diet, which is high in your omega-3s, your greens, fruits, vegetables, and things that have your good like B vitamins, your bioavailable vitamin D, your aminos and things like that, which is why I love that Rise one that we talk about a lot because it does support the mitochondria a lot in so many ways. Also, there's a new DNA repair one that specifically is a superpower for helping with the mitochondria and cellular repair. So definitely reach out if that's something you want to take a look at because the results have been really shocking. Because people are saying like, I don't need my reading glasses anymore and things like that. I'm like, what? Anyway, so sleep optimization, like we've talked about, micronutrient, make sure we are getting enough of the right micronutrients and minerals are a big one that a lot of people don't get enough of or aren't absorbing one of. The dysbiosis. So that's going to be like your gut health, making sure that we're dealing with if there's inflammation in the gut, if we don't have enough good probiotics, if there's overgrowth of yeast in the gut, if there's any other issues going on there, we want to make sure we address that as well. Okay. How's everyone doing? Okay, great. Let's answer questions. I want to make sure we have time for questions, and then we will do more on the next time. As always, reach out if you need anything else, and we'll talk soon.